Ciao ragazzi, buongiorno, buon pomeriggio, buonasera, buonanotte. This is the ninth of our online classes, and I know that we have introduced a lot of new topics lately, um, partly because it's kind of the rhythm that this online teaching thing imposes. And we're also trying to make up for lost time for those unexpected breaks that we had. But still, I don't want to keep on bombarding you with new stuff. And I do think that the time has come for a review, okay? A review of a very important topic that we have been talking about for weeks now. Verbs, right? A specific set of verbs, regular verbs. So let me remind you that regular verbs in Italian are the ones that follow a pattern of conjugation, right? Conjugating a verb is changing it so that it matches the subject, so that it matches the person or people who are doing the action. And regular verbs follow a pattern, so we only need to learn to apply the pattern in order to conjugate them correctly, right? You might recall that in Italian we have three big groups of regular verbs. I'm going to remind you of them. The first one is the are verbs. Remember that regular verbs are classified according to the ending of their infinitive, right? The infinitive is that form of the verb that talks about the action in general, and in Italian it ends always in are, ere, or ire, right? So are verbs are the first and the biggest group of regular verbs in Italian. You have one right here, cantare. You might recall that that means to sing. And I'll remind you of how the pattern works. The first step is getting rid of the last three letters of the infinitive. So in this case, cantare, we get rid of the E, the R, and the A. What we are left with, cant in this case, is known as the stem of the verb. And the stem always remains the same. So we have the stem right here in every row of this table. And then we add some endings. And those endings are the ones that change depending on what type of regular verb that the one that we are conjugating is, right? So in order to learn how to conjugate regular verbs, basically we have to learn the steps of the process and then the endings, right? The endings for are are o, I, a, iamo, ate, ano. So the result is right here on the table. Canto, canti, canta, cantiamo, cantate, cantano. Right? Again, what am I doing? I'm changing the verb so that it matches its subject. So canto means I sing. Canti means you sing. Canta means he or she sings. Cantiamo means we sing. Cantate means you guys sing. Cantano means they sing. That is an are verb. Conjugated. Let's look at another verb, this time an ere verb, right? Exactly the same thing, right? I get rid of the last three letters and then I add some endings, but they change a little because this is an ere verb. So it's o, I, e, iamo, ete, ono, right? Corro, corri, corre, corriamo, correte, corrono. And then the ire verbs, right? Same thing, but then the endings I apply are different. Basically, if you recall, only the voi ending is different. So the conjugation of dormire is io dormo, tu dormi, lui dorme, noi dormiamo, voi dormite, loro dormono, right? And again, the one thing we need to memorize is the endings. So the endings for are o, I, a, iamo, ate, ano. For ere they are o, I, e, iamo, ete, ono. And for ire, they are o, I, e, iamo, ite, ono, right? So if you know this, you basically know the basics, the very, very important basics of Italian conjugation of regular verbs. I know that some of you are thinking, well, we are missing something. Yes, we're missing isk verbs, right? But isk verbs are a subset of ire verbs. So the endings for isk verbs are exactly the same that we learned for ire verbs. They are o, I, e, iamo, ite, ono. But we also add isk, isc, everywhere but for noi and voi. So here we have an isk verb, capire, which means to understand. Notice that I'm using the standard endings for ire verbs, but I'm also inserting isk everywhere but for noi and voi. So the conjugation is io capisco, I understand. Tu capisci, you understand, you one person of course. Lui, lei capisce, he or she understands. Noi capiamo, we understand. Voi capite, you guys understand. Loro capiscono, they understand, right? All of this is review, but I hope to have refreshed your memory regarding the conjugation of Italian regular verbs, which is a very, very important topic of this class. So, the activity I'm going to give you today is basically an application of this, right? But so far for the activities, we've only been using this to fill in tables just like the ones I used for the review today. And of course, that's not what you do with words in a language, right? What you do with words in a language is use them in sentences. So today's activity is exactly about that. We are going to use regular Italian verbs in sentences. Here you have 9 sentences that I'm going to give you as examples of what I want you to do. Number 1 says lei, and then cantare, tra parentesi, right, between parentheses. Then we have a blank and molto bene, right? What I want us to do is to fill in the blank with the correct conjugation of the verb between parentheses. So in this case, it's the correct conjugation of cantare, right? Now, what do we need to do? First, we need to identify what kind of regular verb this is. Cantare. The ending of that infinitive tells us that it's an are verb, right? So I have my table handy if I don't have it in my memory, right? With the endings for are. Io cantiamo a te ano, right? And then I look at what precedes, what comes before the parenthesis. In this case, it's lei. Lei, as you, I hope, remember, because we insisted a lot on this during the first weeks, right? Lei means she. So what form of the verb do I need? Well, I need the lei form, right? So I get rid of the 3 letters. I'm left with the stem, which is cant, and then I add the ending for lei for are verbs, which is a. The result of this little process is canta, and that is the right answer. Lei canta molto bene. Okay? That is what we need to do. First, we find out what kind of regular verb it is by looking at the ending of the infinitive. Then we look for the subject of the action, the person or people that are doing the action, and those will always be located before the parentheses. And we figure out, based on that subject, which form of the verb we need to use, right? We look at the table, we find the right ending, and that gives us the answer. Let's look at number 2. Noi preferire rimanere a casa, right? Preferire, what kind of verb is that? It's an ire verb, but here it's important to remember that it's also an isk verb, right? So you need to have those tables handy, right? I'm going to tell you right now that I'm going to give you just one isk verb in the activity, and it's going to be capire, okay? So just remember that capire is an ISC verb, but preferire is also one. So preferire is an ISC verb and it's also an ire verb, right? And what's the subject? Well, it's noi, which means we, right? So I need the noi form of the verb, right? The ending is iamo for noi, for ire verbs. And do we use ISC for noi? No, right? It's one of the two in which we don't use ISC. We use it for noi and for voi. So we just do prefer and then iamo, preferiamo. Noi preferiamo rimanere a casa, which means we prefer to stay at home. Maybe we don't, but it's a pandemic, so we have to, right? Number 3. Il professore insegnare italiano, right? So insegnare is an added verb. That's very easy. But the subject here is not one of our pronouns. So this might give you pause, but you just need to think a little bit about what form of the verb you need to use, right? Il professore. So this is where our knowledge of personal pronouns would come in handy, right? Remember those exercises where I would tell you what pronoun would you use in order to talk about this or that person, right? That is what this is for. So what pronoun would we use in order to talk about il professore? It's il professore. What gender is this guy? It's male, right? So we would use he, or in Italian we would use lui. So we need the lui form of the verb. The lui ending for adverbs is a, so it's insegna. Il professore insegna italiano. Okay? Giovanni e Pedro correre nel parco. Correre is an ere verb, and then Giovanni e Pedro, that's a group of people that does not include myself, right? So it's they. Loro. We need the loro form of this ere verb. It's corrono. Loro corrono nel parco. Giovanni e Pedro corrono nel parco. Numero 5. Mio padre abitare a New York. Here the knowledge of the family vocab comes in handy. Padre means father, right? So mio padre is my father. And then padre is one male person, right? And we'll talk about him. So we would use lui. So we need the lui form of abitare, which is an are verb. So it's mio padre abita. Mio padre abita New York. My father lives in New York. Okay? Numero 6. Tu studiare austus. An are verb. And what's the subject? Well, it's tu, right? So we need the tu form. Tu studi austus. Do you study at hostels? Numero 7. Io offrire una penna al mio compagno. So we need the io form, clearly, right? Oh, I just saw a typo. Offrire does not have 3 F's, just 2. So I'm sorry about that. Io offrire una penna al mio compagno. We need the io form. What is the io form of this ire verb? Well, get rid of the last 3 letters and then we add a no, right? Which is it's always the same ending for io. So io offro una penna al mio compagno. I offer a pen to my classmate. Mio cane abbaiare molto. I know that abbaiare is not a verb that we have used a lot, but it means to bark. It's an are verb and it's regular, right? So we get rid of the last 3 letters. We are left with abbai, and then mio cane, that means my dog. What pronoun would we use for my dog? Well, either he or she, depending on. But yeah, I know in English you would use it, but in Italian you would use either lei or lui, right? It's depending on the gender of the dog, right? So for lei or lui, it's always the same form, right? The ending is a. So mio cane abbaia molto. My dog barks a lot. That's an imaginary dog, because as you guys know, I do not have one, right? Numero 9, mia sorella scrivere una lettera, the last one. So mia sorella, again, the vocab comes in handy. The vocab of the family. Sorella, as you guys know, means sister. So mia sorella is my sister. Scrivere is an ere verb. What form do we need for mia sorella? So it's she, right? My sister, she. So it's lei, the lei form. The lei ending for ere verbs is e. So I get rid of the last 3 letters. I'm left with scrive. I add that e, and the result is scrive. Mia sorella scrive una lettera. My sister writes a letter. So I know that for some of you this is a lot, maybe for all of you. But I hope that what we have been doing so far has prepared you for it, right? So these types of exercises combine a lot of things. They combine vocab that we have studied. They combine all the forms of conjugation of regular verbs that we have studied. And they also combine our knowledge of the personal pronouns, right? The activity is going to look exactly like this, but way shorter, okay? It's going to be only 4 sentences like this, right? With a verb between parentheses and a blank. And what you need to do is fill in the blank with the correct conjugation of the verb. The way it's going to work is that I'm going to send you a link, okay? So in today's email, there's going to be 2 links. One, the one you just clicked, which led you to this video, and then the second one will lead you to a Google form, which you need to fill in with your name, of course, and then 4 answers, the correct conjugation of 4 regular verbs in the context of 4 sentences, right? And again, I am going to use one isc verb, but it's going to be capire, okay? It's going to be capire, right? So just remember that capire is an isc verb, so you do need to do that additional step of inserting isc everywhere but for noi and voi, for that one particular verb. All the other ones will be standard, okay? 4 sentences, fill in the blanks. Okay. Grazie ragazzi. I know this has been a long and difficult time for many of us, but believe it or not, we're already seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, right? It's already mid-April. And in my experience, after mid-April, the semester comes to a close very, very quickly. Don't freak out. Just keep on sending me activities. And today I was very, very happy to see that 2 people that were sort of MIA reappeared, right? One of them had been having health issues that luckily had been solved. The other one had been having issues with their internet, right? But they're back, and they're asking very anxiously, you know, if they can still submit stuff. So the answer is yes, yes, yes. You can, even if you haven't sent me anything yet, you can still rejoin the class by sending me activities, and the midterm review still owe it to me, okay? So don't worry about deadlines. Just send me activities, watch the videos, and of course make sure to finish all your work before the end of the semester, because I still have, you know, a deadline for submitting grades, okay? Ok, grazie ragazzi, e ci vediamo domani. See you tomorrow.